This is MacVoices TV. XLD Studios is a tech sponsor of MacVoices TV. Let XLD Studios use their years of experience to make your website just the right place for you and your visitors. For more information, visit xldstudios.com. This is MacVoices TV at Macworld 2011. I'm Chuck Joyner, and the gentleman apparently taking my picture for no apparent reason right now is Ken Ray of macOS Ken and macOS Ken Live. Yeah. Mr. Ray.
Mr. Joyner, how are you? What do you mean for no apparent reason? You're Chuck Joyner, dude.
You're Ken Ray. Do you know how many people I had to tear you away from just so we could talk?
5.
I was going to say more like 5,000. They don't know. No.
It's crazy.
We had a great time earlier in the week on the Macworld Live stage with our friends in the Mac Roundtable, and since then you've just been wandering the halls seeing what's cool.
Largely. Not as much, honestly, as I should. I mean, we're down to about 2 hours before the show ends, and there's more that I wish I had gone to see, but what's been happening is stuff like this. Not usually with a camera and microphone, but I mean, running into people and just, this to me is like hugely about recharging, and also what we did on the Mac Roundtable podcast the other day, the Macworld Industry Forum. Basically, anytime I talk about Macworld from now on, I'm going to say those words because I thought it was a fantastic event. And I really look forward to seeing that grow and change into something else. So Macworld Industry Forum, tell your friends.
I agree completely. I missed one session because you had to break for lunch and eat, and I couldn't get back in time, but I thought everyone did a terrific job of little executive summaries, 20-minute executive summaries of what's going on in the industry. I'm with you. I thought it was a great idea. I want to see it continue and evolve. I think it's too bad there wasn't just a little better attended. But, you start out slow and build things up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time. I mean, and it's what I really enjoyed about it. It's great to come here and see the different products and the different applications, the different hardware, and it's totally hit or miss, right? I mean, God bless these guys for being here, but 90% of what's on the floor is not for me. And that's
really
okay, because they're not here for me, they're here for who they're here for. What I loved about both the Mac Roundtable thing and the Macworld Industry Forum was sort of it was a bigger picture thing. What I've told a couple of people is it felt like a TED Talks, but with an Apple Mac bent. It felt like, I mean, this was the biggest big idea thing that I ever remember seeing at Macworld, honestly. So I'm very excited about that and really want to see that continue. And that's twice now that I've talked about it. So I must really like it.
Well, I think we all did, but it's interesting to hear you say that, a lot of this stuff is not for you. I felt like this show this year was broader, there were more markets represented. I mean, sure, we have the inevitable iPad case vendors. On the other hand, I've talked to a lot of them. They're selling iPad cases.
Yeah.
What do you expect?
No, and don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that there's nothing here that I'm interested in. I mean, a lot of it, Chuck, you know me, I'm kind of curmudgeonly, and I've got the way that I do things, and I'm kind of okay with the way I do things. And so somebody can come to me and say, we have this really great audio program, and I'll say, well, I've got one already. So that's not to knock anybody who's here and doing the stuff that they're doing. It's just I find that what I've really enjoyed more, it's been more about the conversation, it's been more about the ideas presented, it's been more about, at the same time I picked up a case, I think it was the Zugu case, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. I picked up a couple of other things. I got a pair of Sennheiser headphones while I was here, or monitors, because they cost as much, you don't call them headphones past a certain dollar amount, they're monitors. Very excited about that. Neither of those things are overly new. Well, the Zugu case is, but I mean, I did not mean to knock anything that was here. It's just, I guess a lot of what I came for was the social part of it and the big idea kind of thing. And I met Leander Caney.
Oh wow, Leander's a great guy.
Twice actually, I met him. I remember one of the times too.
See, right now, Leander's somewhere doing an interview saying, and I met Ken Ray.
Oh, I feel certain that is not the case.
I kind of doubt it. Ken, sometimes I wonder, and you just did it, and I wonder if we do a disservice to Macworld by pointing out the social aspects, because you think, I'm not going to fly the whole way to San Francisco from wherever I am just to be social with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
It's about more than that, and yet I'm with you 100% that is such a huge chunk of it, and it's difficult to articulate or place a value on for people that have to take time off vacation, or time off work, take vacation. or convince their boss to pay for the trip.
Okay, tell me which part you're thinking about, because there are two things that I will say. Like one of the vendors here that I have talked to, with whom I was very excited to talk, was Dragon on their mobile side. They just launched their SDK for mobile developers earlier this week. There are some people that have been in the beta for quite a while, and I read about it, and I did a story about it on macOS Ken, and I knew, okay, well, this is I can tell you just in my gut that this is an important thing, but I'm having trouble visualizing. I'm having trouble getting to, how this is going to be, what it's going to be. So I went to their booth and I talked to one of their guys, and I got something that I would not have been able to get, in email, in Twitter, in going to their website, all that. As far as me and the social side for Macworld, I mean, when it comes to the podcast side of it, which is what I'm trying to do full time, and some other new media type stuff, I work by myself. In the daytime, it's me and my cat. So coming here, I mean, the social side cannot be undersold. And if I had not gone to a single session, if I had not talked to a single vendor, it still would have been worth everything to get here, because this is where my friends who get what I do and understand what I do, because most of my family members are like, oh, you like that Apple thing. Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. And that's pretty much where we go. So when I can come here and not start with, well, a podcast is kind of like a radio show, but the social part cannot be undersold as far as I'm concerned. And then the side conversations, we end up talking about things that we, if you had told me, oh, come here because you're going to end up talking about God with some guy from Hawaii, I'd have been like, I'm not going to go, no. But that was also a mind-blowing experience that happened here on the show floor. So Apple loves to say that you can go to the Apple Store, and it's true. You can go to the Apple Store and you can buy the products that you need, and you can certainly buy the products that Apple wants you to buy. But there's not the social aspect. As cool as it is, they don't chase you out, they don't hound you, they're obviously not working on commission. At the same time, there's not the, oh, I like Macs too, let's talk, which, is a huge part of here.
And to go back to the industry forum, but also to go to the conference sessions, the Macworld Live stage sessions, you kind of get recharged. I mean, I think creatively, emotionally, every way. We're going to go back physically exhausted, but just not being able to wait to tear into new projects.
I actually said that on Twitter the other day. My batteries are getting both drained and recharged simultaneously. Physically, yeah. Physically, I'm a wreck. Yep. But emotionally, yeah, it's fantastic to be here, and it's not like I lose the passion to do it. I'm sure you don't either, but yeah, it's my engine has been revved officially. So watch out, America and the other 48 states.
I don't know. Didn't know that anybody had seceded. I think since the last time we had you here, you started macOS Ken Live. Now, everybody's familiar with macOS Ken. That's just a required listening kind of daily thing. But macOS Ken Live is different. It shows a very different side of your personality and of your talents. Tell everyone that may not be aware of macOS Ken Live what it is and how they can get involved.
macOS Ken Live is exactly what it sounds like. I mean, we talk about news of the day, but it is done live on Ustream.tv Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, other times in other parts of the world. And it's just whatever the news of the week happens to be. When the Verizon iPhone was announced, we talk Verizon iPhone. Sometimes I try to do sort of like that big thinker, other idea, not just news of the day stuff. And it's, we riff. I mean, we open up the microphone at 10 o'clock and we stop when people stop calling. Sometimes we stop at 10:40, sometimes we stop at 11:30. I mean, it's just however much conversation there is. And if you can't be there for the live thing, it is available as a podcast. Just go to iTunes, search for macOS Ken, look for the picture of me in a hat, which I'm not wearing right now, and it'll be there. And it's variable lengths, and it's like, I was telling somebody earlier, it's kind of like a rodeo. Gate opens. I don't know what the calls are going to be about necessarily, because people will call in to talk about the topic we have. They'll also call in to talk about what they want to talk about. We'll see how it goes by the end. I always wonder at the beginning of the show how it's going to be, and usually by the end of it, I'm pretty happy.
And if you haven't sampled it, folks, it is a different side of Ken, because you're used to macOS Ken during the day and the way that he presents and the way he critiques the Apple industry. macOS Ken Live is much more of a conversation. It's much different, and he's a master at it. Ken, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to us.
Chuck, it's a pleasure.
I'm Chuck Joyner. He's Ken Ray. This is Macworld 2011 in San Francisco. Thanks for watching.
MacVoices TV is part of the MacVoices group and a member of Mac Level 10.